What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got the top 4 from the Atlanta Vault Tour to have a little bit of a look at. On the left, we've got Bobby Sunshine playing Undyne of Long Road, a Logos Mars Untamed deck, and on the right, we've got Grant Titus playing the mechanic that sanctifies the Prophet, which is quite hefty work for a mechanic, a Logos Sanctum Shadows deck. So Logos, the only common house between these two decks, 5 of the 7 houses represented in total. Shout out to the lovely Cascade Games for allowing us to use the footage and add commentary. Those guys are awesome. So we're starting off then nice and simply. Bobby goes first. He's only allowed to play a single card. Oh, and he's going Deep Probe. Choose a house, reveal your opponent's hand, discard each creature of that house revealed this way. But of course, one of the great things you get to do with a card like this is just look at your opponent's hand. Even if you're not getting rid of a huge amount of creatures, and honestly, it looks like he only had Shadows creatures, which is a little bit upsetting. So I don't know if he actually got rid of any there. He still gets that information. He gets the early look. Oh, should have gone Shadows, because we do see a couple Shadows creatures coming down here. We've got a Nexus coming down, and it looks like an Umbra as well. So, not an ideal situation. And there's also a master plan there. When you play it, you get to put a card from your hand face down underneath it. And then there's an Omni ability that basically lets you play that card whenever you want, regardless of what the active house is that you've chosen at that particular moment, which gives you a huge advantage. Oh, now Full Moon comes down here. He's going to get an Amber for every untamed creature he plays, and Dust Pixie is the best one. That's 3 Amber in total there, which is pretty gosh darn good. If he's got any other creatures, he's going to be able to get himself a little bit more Amber as well here, which is going to be a rather gigantic advantage for him. The question is, what has he actually got here? Does he have any other creatures? He's playing a little bit cagily here. Now, he's got a key charge, but he just dumps it from his hand. So on the one hand, getting 3 Amber off the single Dust Pixie was awesome. On the other hand, that's all he was actually able to do there, which is not exactly ideal. I mean, look, it basically turned it into Virtuous Works, which is still a really good card, a really good effect, but it's not exactly the perfect play there. So, we're over to Grant, and it looks like he's actually using his Umbra now. And just when you fight, you steal an Amber. So he's able to take out the Dust Pixie, which is quite nice, while also stealing an Amber at the same time. And Umbra's got Skirmish, so it takes no damage back when it starts the fight. Now, we do have, it looks like a pair of Nexus and a pair of Umbra out here. So we've actually got 2 of each. And I believe we probably just had a Reap there from the Nexus. And now all of a sudden, Grant is sitting there with 5 Amber. So it looks like he's not quite on check, but he certainly is not far away, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be forging a key very, very shortly. Now, I'm not sure how jerky it is. If it is a little bit jerky, I do apologise. As always, we're working with the best footage we had. We didn't record it. We can't complain. But we got the commentary here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll follow along rather nicely, even if it's not perfect. So, Grant, good position, but finishes not on check. Not quite in a position to forge a key. Bobby, slightly on the back foot. It looks like he's got 3 Amber. Could be 2 of, I think it's 3. Oh, now he does get a Flaxia down. That's not a Flaxia. This is a Flaxia. Gain 2 Amber if you control more creatures than your opponent. The problem is he doesn't control more creatures than his opponent, which is very upsetting. Not really the ideal situation to play it. Of course, he's another one of those decks. He's got 2 Full Moon, but he's only actually got 5 creatures in the deck. Though 2 of them are Snufflegator, and I'm a big fan of any Snufflegator-based strategy. Now, it does look like we've got a Logos turn going on here. And I want to say that's a Scrambler Storm. your opponent cannot play action cards on their next turn. And what's great is that actually he's got 2 of them in his deck. That's going to make it extremely difficult for Grant to play actions during this game. Because that's 2 if he doesn't reuse it, but he's got an Nepenthe Seed. So if he wants, he's actually got access to 3 of that every time he cycles his deck. You know, every cycle, every time he goes round and uses every card, because remember, when you run out of cards, you shuffle up your discard pile and that becomes your deck. Every cycle, so to speak, he's basically getting 3 turns. Oh, now, where his opponent can't play actions. Now, he has nicely separated Amber out for us, and we can see that he has got 6 there. So Bobby is right on the edge of forging a key here. Bobby is on check. He is going to be forging a key next turn, unless Grant is able to stop him. Now, he does play Shadows, but remember, Umbra can only actually steal when it attacks. Oh, and it looks like a very quick turn from Grant, puts himself up to 8 Amber, but he doesn't stop Bobby forging. Bobby's got his first key. Bobby's in the lead here. And now he is going into Mars, and he's got himself a Tunk. Oh, and he's also getting some cheeky damage coming down here. Mothership support. For each friendly ready Mars creature, deal 2 damage to a creature. And it looks like it came into play ready. So did he have a soft... No, there is no soft landing in his deck. He's got himself another Amber anyway. And just a Mind Warper coming down. Mind Warper's really fun. You just, as an action, get to choose an enemy creature to copy, to capture an Amber from its own side. It's one of the nice Mars cards we can use to stop our opponent forging a key. It's not perfect, and it's certainly not capturing in the way that Sanctum capture, but it's not bad. Gives him a nice little advantage. So Grant here is able to forge his first key. We've evened it up at 1 key apiece. The question is, what's Grant going to be able to do in terms of trying to jump ahead now? He is behind in this game. He didn't forge before his opponent, and that means that he is basically, for the game, just a little bit behind here. He's going to need to do something to jump into the lead. Now, he does get himself down a Ganymede Archivist. When you reap, you archive a card. That's quite nice. And there's a little bit of glare, but I believe that's a Novu Archaeologist, which has got an action that archives a card from your discard pile. So the pair of them together could actually work nicely to build up a little bit of an archive for himself. It could be fun. And it looks like he's actually played his own Scrambler Storm here. So now Bobby's not playing any actions. Now, as it turns out, Grant's only actually got 1 of them, so it's not quite such a reliable way to go about doing it. But apparently Scrambler Storm is coming in here, ladies and gentlemen. So Mind Warper, is this a reap or is he capturing? No, it's a capture. So he's putting it on the Novu Archaeologist, did we say that was? Yes, we did. And remember, if a creature with captured Amber gets destroyed, the other player gets the Amber. So what he actually did there was take out the Novu Archaeologist using Tunk, and then he got the Amber. So it was a fairly convoluted way to steal one, but steal one he did. Now, I haven't mentioned it yet, but there is a speed sigil down, which is what led the Tunk to come into play earlier. Ready? It does ready the first creature that's played for each player. Kind of cool, right? So, yeah. Speed sigil's a weird one. It makes the first creature each turn come down ready, but that is for either yourself or your opponent. So, what's Grant got here? He's got 8 Amber, and I said he needed to jump ahead. This is how he does it. They've both forged 1 key. Grant is on check. Bobby isn't forging a key at the beginning of this turn. So if Bobby's not able to steal or otherwise remove, capture, whatever you want to say, there's different ways to do it. You can make him lose, you can capture, you can steal. But if he doesn't get rid of 3 of Grant's Amber, then Grant will be doing what we suggested he needs to do, i.e., he will be jumping ahead in the game. Bobby, no, he doesn't look worried. He looks very nonchalant. I mean, look, we're in the top 4 of the Vault Tour. But at this point, Bobby has won a lot of games this weekend. So it's probably fair to assume he's feeling pretty good about his deck and his chances. Even if he doesn't end up winning, he's still got one whole heap of a good deck going on. Now, I'm going to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting pretty good at identifying Keyforge cards on stream. Even I cannot tell you what that card is. There is way too much glare. It's something that can take out a Ganymede Archivist. Oh, right, now that's a giant sloth. I told you I was pretty good at seeing these. Oh, so it's a Snufflegator. Because Snufflegator is the only untamed creature he's got that's got Skirmish, so it must be a Snufflegator. Oh, now he does play a Nature's Call here, gives them an Amber, return up to 3 creatures to their owner's hand, and he just uses that to just get all of Grant's creatures off his board. If he still had the Dust Pixie down, you can imagine he'd probably want to use it to pick up his Dust Pixie and play it down for the Amber bonus, but that Dust Pixie, it went a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen. It's not been on the board for a little while at this stage. So, what's Grant got here? Now, unfortunately for Bobby, Grant did just forge his second key. So that means that Grant is 1 key away from winning. Oh, now he's gone Sanctum here. And it looks like he's got the Spirit's Way. Destroy each creature with power 3 or higher. It can backfire and destroy a bunch of your creatures. But when you got a situation like we've just got here, where it's literally a case of I've got no creatures, it cannot backfire. That's kind of cool. Incidentally, he has got a round table out. The artifact does give each friendly knight creature +1 power and taunt. And he is playing a bunch of things down here. Looks like that's a Champion to Briss here. 6 power, 2 armor. But because of round table, it's actually a 7 power, 2 armor. And when it fights, it captures an Amber. So there's a lot of capturing going on here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going quite nicely indeed. He's also got himself a Sergeant Zakiel hitting the field. When you play, you may ready and fight with a neighbouring creature. That's how we saw quite so much fighting there from Champion to Briss. Sergeant Zakiel came down and got some advantages going. Oh, I'm not loving the glare here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that is a Doc Bookton. Interesting, because if you look at the artwork of Doc Bookton, he's actually working on Helperbot, which did appear in the second set, Age of Ascension. Kind of cool. Now, here's a Wild Wormhole. Lets you play the top card of your deck. It's a Scrambler Storm. So once again, Grant is going to be unable to use actions on his next turn. And there's a second Wild Wormhole. Bobby does have 2 in his deck. And he plays himself a Wyexili Marauder. No, a Zizix the Many. When you fight or reap, you reveal a creature from your hand if you wish. If you do, you archive it and give Zizix 3 +1 power counters. If you can get it rolling, it's pretty good. Bobby is on the back foot, though, here. He's forged 1 key, he's got 4 amber, so he's not on check, and his opponent has forged 2 keys and has 3 amber. So if Grant can gain himself 3 amber this turn, he can put himself on check for winning the game. And if he chooses to go Sanctum, bear in mind he's already got 2 creatures with which he can reap. Although one thing to bear in mind, if Bobby's able to take out Champion to Briss or just get it off the field with something like a Nature's Call, he will actually get all 3 of those amber, and then all of a sudden he will be in a much better position in terms of potentially forging his next key. Not saying it's the only option, not saying it's going to come in next turn and win him the game, but you know that's in the back of Bobby's mind here. He's thinking, I can do this. Now, we do see a Shadows turn here. Now, what's actually come down? I believe that's another Nexus. And he puts a Dusk Runner on, so when you reap, you steal an amber, but also when you reap, you use an opponent's artifact as if it were your own. Makes Nexus a pretty powerful reaper, especially bearing in mind it's got elusive, so Bobby would have to attack it twice in the same turn in order to actually take it out here. Yeah, Grant's going to want to be reaping with that. Now, the good news for Bobby is that Grant is not on check here. He's got 5 amber. But Bobby really needs to get rolling here. He can't really afford another turn where he finishes not on check. Now, he does get a Y-Auxiliary Marauder down. Dominator. Enters play stunned. Scott Taunt, 9 power, 1 armor. That's not going to get him any closer right now. Oh, now this I like a whole lot. Combat Pheromones has an Omni ability whereby you can sacrifice it and use 2 Mars cards this turn. Now that is use, not play, but it means next turn he can choose a different house and use both his Zizix the Many and his Y-Exilix Dominator. I tell you what, I love Mars. Mars is my favourite house. But some of these names are hard to pronounce. Like when I was at the Vault Tour in Birmingham and I was able to pick up a mat, I'm like, give me the Mars mat. There was a slight regret I didn't pick up the Bear mat, but come on, Mars. I am loyal to Mars, ladies and gentlemen. I never did find my deck with a Bear Flute and 4 Bear. If anyone's got one of those decks, hit me up, would you? Now, Grant is further away from forging now. Bobby is doing a decent job here of just slowing the game down. Now, he did play a Psychic Network, steal 1 amber for each friendly ready Mars creature, which incidentally is how he stole a bunch of Grant's amber there. And he is able to use Zizix the Many to get the +3 power counters. So this is going all right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, all of a sudden, Grant's only got half the amount of amber he needs, and Bobby's sitting there with what looks like 7 amber. That's pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty good. Grant still in the driver's seat, no mistake about it. But now Grant's job has been made a fair bit more difficult. So he's going logos here. It looks like he's played a Vespilion Theorist. When you reap, you choose a house, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is of that house, archive it and gain an amber. Otherwise, discard it. And he's played down a Library of Babel. It's just an artifact that lets you draw a card every turn. But that's not too bad. Now, he's rolling through quite nicely here. He's got himself into check. He's got him Bobby off of check. Looks like... Did he play bait and switch then? I'm not seeing any phase shift in his deck. Oh, he's got a wild wormhole. So did he wild wormhole into bait and switch then? I missed exactly what happened. If he did, then that's ridiculous. Although, no, it looks like he might be on a Shadow's turn, in fact, because he's got Skeleton Key. Skeleton Key's a very fun card. It's got an action, a friendly creature captures an amber. Either way, he's got himself onto check, sitting there with 7 amber, and he's got Bobby just off check. Bobby sitting there at 5. So a nice turn there from Grant. Working it very nicely indeed. Just giving himself an opportunity to, potentially win the game next turn. Let's be honest here. He's in a very good position. Bobby's going to need to do something here. He needs to steal. Really, stealing is the ideal situation. We talk a lot about the new card from Age of Ascension, Swindle, it's an Alpha and Omega card. It's the only thing you get to do during your turn. But you steal 3 amber? Right now, putting his opponent down to 4 while putting himself up to 8, that would be cool. This Vault Tour was pre-Age of Ascension. But, be fun. It would be fun. So what's Bobby got here? What options does he have? He's eyeing up a bunch of Mars cards. But what can he do with them? What are his options? Now, it looks like he is going Mars. Look, he's got 2 Mars creatures on the field. So it makes sense to go Mars here. Now, he's playing a Tunk. Remember, Tunk comes in active because of Grant's Speed Sigil. Bobby's made good use of Speed Sigil. He plays a Y Auxiliary Marauder down, gets +1 power for each amber on it, and when you play, you capture 1 amber for each friendly ready Mars creature. That's free. So that's great. And like I've said in this video, Grant can just destroy it and get the free amber back, but the key point is, you only get to forge at the beginning of your turn. So fighting Grant next turn can forge a key, or to be more precise, he can get enough amber to forge a key on his following turn, but he's not forging a key to begin his turn. It's why cards like Key Charge and Chota Hazari are so gosh darn powerful, because they let you forge a key in the middle of the turn. They stop your opponent doing stuff, like playing a Y Auxiliary Marauder to stop you forging. Oh, now Bobby is eyeing up that Champion Tabris. Now, it's a bit of a beast at this stage. It's a 7 power, 2 armor creature with taunt. So you can't actually, so you got to attack it rather than its neighbors. But 7 power, 2 armor, he needs to do 9 to take it out. Even a Tunk won't actually do it, because it's only got 6 power. Even a Y Auxiliary Dominator. Oh no, that would actually survive. Yeah, Y Auxiliary Dominator would survive because it would do 7. It would do 7 minus 1 with the armor is 6. So Y Auxiliary Dominator could actually take out Champion Tabris and get that armor back. Although, is Zizix the many? Is he up to 8 here? I think he might be. So maybe he can take out Champion Tabris. Oh no, because that wouldn't be enough. Okay, so we do see it finally going down here. Gets the amber back. Doesn't necessarily surprise me. Like I said, as big as it was in Call of the Archons, Mars had some really beefy creatures. Now, it takes 5 back. Should it have taken 5? Yes. I believe it should. Wait, isn't Champion Tabris a knight? So Champion Tabris should be at a 7 power. And with Dominator's armor, it should have taken 6, not... Oh, it has got 6. There's a little 1 next to it. Okay, I'm not going crazy, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Bobby has done what Bobby needs to do. He has captured a bunch of amber. He's taken out Champion Tabris to get his amber back. He's now sitting there at what looks like 11 amber. I mean, he's forging next turn. Grant is going to have a supremely difficult time actually stopping him forging here. Difficult to the point where I don't know if he's actually going to be able to pull it off. I don't know if it's actually possible to do that. So, yeah. I don't think he's actually going to be able to pull it off, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. Grant, for his part, he doesn't need to stop Bobby forging. What he needs to do is forge before Bobby. And we see this a lot. I said this a lot in my commentary videos. If you've got, a key advantage, you can sometimes just go, right, I'm just going to rush for amber here. I'm just going to forge my 3rd key as soon as possible and just let you rock, ladies and gentlemen. But as it stands at the moment, I mean... The good news is, it looks like he dropped an Effervescent Principle. Now, he gained a chain, but each player loses half their amber rounding down. So, it looks like he's actually stopped Bobby forging. So I'm sitting there going, look, he's not going to stop him forging. And Grant's just like, hang on a second, Wassy. I'll be the judge of that, mate. And he actually does. Now, there are 2 Effervescent Principle in his deck, incidentally. So, that's good. Does chain him. Does mean he's drawing 1 fewer card at the end of his turn. But that's nice, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to help him out really quite nicely here. That's pretty sweet. So the question is, what's Bobby got here? Bobby's still down by a key. And you got to think time is running out. Generally speaking, there's only so many times you can actually stop your opponent forging a key before they're going to be able to forge. And Bobby's done a great job so far. Let's make no mistake about that. Bobby has done an excellent job stopping Grant forging. Having said that, Grant has also done an excellent job stopping Bobby forging. And look, he's got bait and switch in his deck. He's got 2 Effervescent Principle. I mean, what's quite impressive is that Bobby's actually doing this without any shadows in his deck. Because everyone knows shadows can steal and stop your opponent forging, but Bobby's playing Logos Mars Untamed. But he's actually got some really good tricks he's been using. And also bearing in mind he doesn't even have Effervescent Principle in Untamed. He's doing quite well here. Incidentally, there is no Doorstep to Heaven in Grant's deck. So it looks like Grant has ended his turn without forging, and there is a Rocket Boots coming down onto the Dominator here. Or no, it's Tunk. Rocket Boots coming down onto Tunk. Rocket Boots is a really fun card. It lets you, when you fight or reap, if it's the first time this creature was used this turn, you ready it. So he basically gets double Tunk. That's nice, ladies and gentlemen. I'm fairly sure it's Tunk. Now, you'll notice Bobby has actually gone through his deck once already and shuffled up. He's getting through his deck really well here. Now, here comes a Twin Bolter mission where it takes out one of his creatures. It takes out the Logos dude, gets rid of Aspilion Theorist. It's only a 2 power. Doesn't do too much to Sergeant Zakiel because of the armor. It only actually does 1. But he's just taking away options. And you'll see here, Bobby might be behind. But look at his battle line. That's kind of the point here. He's got 8 amber and a really nice setup. Whereas Grant has 4 amber and almost no setup whatsoever. Now he's just looking saying, hang on a second, how come you got 4 damage on Sergeant Zakiel and it's not destroyed? The answer is, remember that Round Table is still granting +1 power to Sergeant Zakiel because it is a knight. So we do see a lab work come down. Just lets you archive a card, gives you an amber bonus, so now he's up to 9. 9 amber's pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. 9 amber's not bad. And is that another Scrambler Storm? I believe it is. Your opponent cannot play action cards on their next turn. Now, here's what's important. Grant has 1 creature out, 4 artifacts, which is nice. But now that he can't play any actions, and his artifacts aren't for stealing or capturing or any of that, and Sergeant Zakiel isn't, Bobby's looking going, I am like 99% sure you can't stop me forging. Because sure, I know you've got a second Effervescent Principle in your deck, but you can't play it because you can't play action cards. I think he's guaranteed his second key next turn. And what's very interesting to note, after he forges, he will already be on check. Bobby's done that thing where he's actually got double amber. He's got 12 amber when only 6 are needed to forge. Grant needs to gain amber here, but he cannot play any actions. Now, he can play an artifact, if he's got any artifacts of an amber bonus, and he can play creatures, but I don't know what that really does. He doesn't have any creatures, I believe, that give him an amber bonus. And he's played a whole bunch of artifacts. And he can't play actions. And there's no... Oh, there is captured amber. So he chooses to go after the Dominator. Oh, now he is able, that's really nice. He is able to take advantage of Speed Sigil, drop a Champion Anaphiel, and then immediately take out the Marauder. So he's put himself on check, but it really doesn't look like he's got many options for taking out his opponent's stuff. Now, he does play a Sequest that can capture an amber when you reap. Yeah, ain't reaping yet, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to say that's a Bulwark that came down, which gives each of its neighbours +2 armor. Incidentally, turns Champion Anafiel into a 7 power, because of the round table, 3 armor beast. But yeah, he's not able to stop Bobby forging. And now Bobby's really not looking too bad here. Now, don't get me wrong, Grant is on check, but he's only got 7 amber. So if Bobby can just get rid of 2 of them, he's fine. So plays a Full Moon, plays a Dust Pixie to gain himself 3 amber. Oh, and a Key Charge! And that's it, that's the game! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I told you earlier in the game how important cards like Key Charge can be, and Bobby's just sitting there going, I'm going to play Scrambler Storm, so you cannot stop me forging at the beginning of my turn, and then I'm going to play Key Charge during my turn, and that's it. What an ending! And Grant's sitting there going, look, okay, fine, I didn't get to play any actions, but I'm still on check, I'm still ahead by a key, he's going to forge, I'm still in a good position, and Bobby's just like, boom! Now I've won the game with Key Charge. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a very exciting end to the game that I enjoyed very much indeed. So there we go. Congratulations to Bobby. Moves into the final, and we will be watching the final with commentary very shortly indeed. Huge shout out to the lovely folks from Cascade Games for letting us use the footage. Congratulations to Bobby. Commiserations to Grant. But I think we can all agree that they both played incredibly well in that game. So you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. At this stage, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, drop me a comment down below, tell me what you thought about the game, and of course, follow me on Twitter at TheWozzy so we can have a chat about games like Keyforge and a bunch of others. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.